So welcome back to the channel. Today we are working on a buddy's, it's a '04 Silverado 2500 Duramax. We are going to be installing a double-din touchscreen and a backup camera in the tailgate handle. I do not have everything here today. So this is probably going to be a multi-day video, but it's just going to be one big video. I am still waiting on the dash kit and antenna adapter, which I don't even know if we need that or not, but and I'm also waiting on the tailgate to get here. So we're going to start working on today. We're probably going to go ahead and wire up everything for the radio with the adapter harness, which I'll show you that here in a minute. I'll show you the part numbers of what we have. And then I will go ahead and work on probably running the mic for the radio. It has an external mic. And then I'll show you part numbers of everything that we got. I'll show you all the tools that I've used to do this. So I'll list those separately. But let's go ahead and start with the inside of this truck. I'll do a quick walk around. This is it's an LS model. So it doesn't have Bose sound system and it doesn't have any speakers up there on the A-pillar. Has that kind of radio already. So we're going to be replacing that with the same head unit that I've purchased for my other vehicles. So it's a really clean truck for what it is. I think there's like 135,000 on it. Pretty much stock. Other than that, it's got a plow kit on the front. It's got a PAP cap, but I think he does want to do some mods to the truck. So super clean. I think he wants wheels as well. All right, so the unboxing for the Pioneer radio. I believe this is warranty work and just the instructions. I don't need this. I've had enough of these. So the radio does come with a couple things. This first being, this will plug into the back of the head unit, and then you have to run this somewhere in the vehicle. So I need to find a clean place to do this. And I actually want to, on my truck, I tried to talk him into doing it, but you remove the cigarette lighter in your car and you put a adapter, which you just plug into this, and you just plug your cable straight into there. So I was thinking about trying that on my Ram to make it a little bit cleaner looking than what it is. But there's other stuff like these harnesses are meant for plugging into the back of the radio. So like there's certain things like with this, you'd obviously have to plug this harness in. This one's for steering wheel control, which again, the truck doesn't have it, but it also has a rear view camera. So this harness is definitely needed. This is for, looks like to me, subwoofer and stuff. So I will be giving him this harness. This harness will not be utilized on this unless he decides to do something later on. This is the auxiliary in, which I don't know if anybody even uses that, but that's a nice thing about these radios. They have all individual harnesses, so you don't have all this extra stuff hanging out the back. So again, this one's probably not going to get utilized because most people just plug in their phones anymore. This one's for XM or Sirius XM radio. Also not going to be utilizing that. Here's some of the screws that come with it. This is the external mic. Usually what I do is I run these up the A-pillar and just clip it into the plastic. So it does have double-sided adhesive if you wanted to put it somewhere else. I've never had an issue, and it's always out of the way up there, so that's what we're going to be doing. And last thing up is the wiring harness. So I'm going to go ahead and unscrew it or unwire that. Certain things like this is for, I think the radio plays videos and stuff. This is like the parking brake signal. He's probably not going to use that, not for what this truck's used for, so we're not going to be doing that. But we'll shorten some of these wires up, but pretty much you take this harness that plugs into your factory one, and you just solder them together. So each wire is color-coded, and you just go with the existing wire. So like this one, for example, is orange and white, and there's the orange and white from this radio. So I like to solder and heat shrink everything, and I will make this harness a little bit smaller so there's not all that stuff tucked back in the dash, but let me go ahead and get all my soldering stuff ready, and we will go ahead and start doing that. But I don't believe there's anything else in this radio, minus the radio itself. I don't know if I can get it out. Okay, there we go. I'll set that to the side. Yeah, so I'm gonna leave the plastic and everything on this as far as up front goes, but on the back, I will pull this out. I'll show you where all the harnesses and plug into the back of this. So we've had a lot of questions about this radio on the other videos that we've done. Like I said, the TIG one's a really big one. The Ram's the same way. This radio is in every single one of those videos that you've seen. But you tell, here's the ports on the back. They just plug into, you can't even mess it up. The white plugs that are on the end of this, like that right there, they only plug into certain ports on the back. So it's not something that you can even mess up if you wanted to. And you're supposed to remove that little piece of plastic. So I'm gonna put this back in there so nothing happens to it and doesn't get scratched. And like I said, since we're done unboxing everything, minus the tailgate handle and the dash kit, I'm gonna go ahead and start soldering this. So I'll probably do 1 or 2 wires just to show you how I do this. And then I'll probably put you on a time lapse and we'll finish it all up. I'm not the best with soldering, but it is still gonna be a clean job and it will be done correctly. Okay, so these are some of the tools. This stripper, these strippers, a little bit of solder gun. Wish I had a better one, is what it is. Here is heat shrink and razors, because I am going to cut some of the heat shrink in half. I don't leave a bunch of exposed wire under there, and you probably get, you know, double the pieces out. So I think we're gonna go ahead and start with the 2 gray wires here. So each one of these gray wires is not just the gray wires, but these. I don't know if you can see it. The bottom one there, this one, has it's black and gray. So these gray ones on the harness say it's the right front positive, and the one that has the black is the right front negative. And we're just gonna start there. So grab part of the radio harness, and we're going to find the gray wires, which are right there. And we're gonna go ahead and strip a little bit. We're gonna use just the gray one for now, and then we'll go to the one that's gray and black. Sometimes these strippers are, there it is. So just a little bit there. This one is already peeled. The only thing you got to do is take that, and then I'm going to take part of the razor blade, cut the heat shrink in half, because like I said, you don't need a bunch of exposed wire. This will cover everything up, and it's not like weather's getting to it anyway. So what I'm going to do, take half of the heat shrink and put it on this wire, slide it down, and then grab this wire, and we're gonna I'm gonna twist them together so they lay flat, like that. And then we're gonna grab a little bit of solder. Like I said, I'm not the best at this. I do all the radios, and I'm sure there's a more professional way, but this is good enough. It's better than just black tape, and I don't like using those wire ends. And this solder gun kind of sucks anyway. There we go. So there's a buildup on there, which I gotta find the hot, there we go. There we go. This is the problem with some of these cheap solder guns. There's hot spots that are actually in the nozzle. So it's hot. just enough solder to hold the two together. They're tight. I'm gonna go ahead and take the heat shrink. You can use a lighter, you can use whatever. I'm just gonna use the, make sure it's over top of it. I'm just gonna use the solder gun. All you're doing is just melting this so the wires and everything do not get exposed. I will say I might have to look to see if I have smaller heat shrink. This is not, there we go. Yep, just fine. There you go. That's what it should look like. Like I said, you can use a lighter if you want. This is A-okay if you want to use just a solder gun. So I'm gonna go ahead and put you on time lapse, and I'm gonna go ahead and work my way through this harness, and then we're gonna work on taking apart the dash. So apparently it's pretty easy in this, but let me go ahead and do this, finish this up, and then we're gonna, even though I don't have the faceplate, I at least want to plug that in and test everything. Like we'll test the speakers on each side, we'll test everything else, and I'll make sure that the wrap module actually works. And I don't think there's any programming with this. I'd have to look in the instructions. I don't feel like it is, but we'll check that whenever we do this. I'm gonna finish up the wiring first. Okay, maybe not quite halfway through. This is pretty much what it looks like up to this point. Like I said, I'm not gonna leave the whole video on time lapse. I've just shown basically how to do this, at least how I do it. There's multiple different ways you can do this, but this is the way I choose and this is the way I like. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish doing all these wires. Now, some of these, obviously you don't have to use everything. This wire is going to become important later on. It is the reverse gear signal input. I'm going to need this for the backup camera. Not all these wires though, like this head unit is not going to utilize this wire. This one's for the remote control. It just doesn't come with one. So pretty much everything else is going to get utilized on here and on this harness. And I don't think this wire, I don't remember. I'm gonna have to look at that and see where it actually goes. I don't think this one gets utilized either, but I'm gonna go ahead and finish doing this. I'm going to cut this one shorter and end up, there's going to be this wire crimped and the backup wire crimped. I'm gonna go ahead and tape this when I'm done. And this one's, I'm not doing anything with it, but I at least wanna get this in the dash and test it and this harness be completely finished. So I'm going to leave the one wire crimped out for the reverse signal input because the tailgate handle is not here and I'm going to have to tap into it anyway. So other than that, everything else is going to be soldered on this harness. And I'm probably going to do exactly what I did. I need to look under this truck to see if it's any different. On my Ram, I tapped into the reverse signal on the 7-pin. Just because on the Ram, if that harness ever becomes compromised, it becomes corroded or whatever, it's just a little, I think it's like a 1-foot harness that you unplug on the back of the truck. You can find one in a junkyard. You can probably still get them new, I don't know. But I don't like tapping into the body harness on this, like the reverse lights, which is probably one of the easiest ways to go because it's just, for me, it's better this way. So let me finish this up and then we'll start tearing on the inside apart. Okay, so the harness is all done. I actually found out that this green wire can plug into the park and brake wire for head units that are navigation or multimedia. So as you can tell, there is some extra wires on this. Not all of these kits, like some of these trucks came with like a Bose sound system or OnStar. So that's what some of these extra wires are for. And if you could tell, like the green and purple wire that's on here, that's for the vehicle speed sensor. And there's a blue and pink wire, or I'm sorry, to the reverse wire. So Like I said, not all these wires are used, so I'm going to go ahead and tape these up and tape the whole harness up, and we're going to go ahead and work on pulling the dash out and or the bezel and the radio, and I'm at least going to test this for tonight. It's getting kind of late, and I'm to a point of where minus the mic, I'm pretty much done until I get some more parts. Okay, so inside, the easiest way, I might need a pry, like a trim panel, like tool remover. So I'm going to try not to. So since it is an older truck and it is not mine, I'm going to try to break anything. First, go ahead and pull the truck down into first and lower the steering column, and then go ahead and start over here in the corner. And it should just pop out like that. So again, be very careful with this, not to break anything. And then this should pull out like that. We'll put that in the back so we don't break it. On the floor. And then you put the steering column up and then turn the key off. So this radio is held in by 3 7mm screws. There is 2 on the driver's side and 1 over here. I'm going to go ahead and remove that, and I'm using this just because I'm lazy. I will say this is way easier than installing a ram, the bezel around the ram. It's way quicker, and so far I like working on these trucks. This was my second choice of a truck if I didn't get a 3rd gen. So let me go ahead and get these screws off, and whenever you are hooking stuff up, ideally you should always disconnect the battery. I'm not doing that because there should be no reason why it should trip the fuse. So this should just pop out. There we go. There's little, I don't think this thing's ever been out. There's little plastic pegs that this thing sits on, and then I'm trying to, okay. There we go, and then just start unplugging stuff in the back. Try not to scratch anything up. I definitely think this radio has never been out. All right, let me go ahead and get I'm going to turn the camera off just for a second to get this last clip. I'm not trying to damage anything, and then we'll pick it back up on the video, and I'll show you what's all needed. All right, so I had to get a light. So what I was actually doing was I had to kind of push in and lift up on this gray tab. So now that part is out, I struggled with that for a couple minutes. I wasn't trying to break anything, and I didn't figure anybody wanted to watch on camera. So I still haven't taped any of the harness up yet. I'm going to wait on that. But I am going to go ahead and test the head unit out. So I'm going to get it out of the plastic. I'm going to plug this end. I'm going to plug the wrap module in, and we're going to test it and make sure everything works real quick. So let me get that out, and we'll go ahead and test. Okay, so the wrap module is plugged in. This is plugged into the factory harness. I have, this is the USB, this is the USB port in the back that I have my cable to. So we're going to just leave it on the console for right now. Let me move my arm out of the way. So there's the wrap module. There is that. Let me shut the door. That's going to be super annoying. There's not going to be any radio. I'm going to go ahead and test this off camera. So let me go ahead and test this and make sure everything works, and then I'm pretty much done for tonight. So tomorrow I'm probably I'll have to run the wire across the dash, and I'm going to run the mic and put it right up here probably. So let me make sure everything's good, and we're still waiting on parts, but it's at least a start. So by Monday, this project should be done, and hopefully my buddy's real happy with this. Okay, so the tailgate bezel, or tailgate handle bezel, showed up today. I pulled it out. This is obviously the harness. I wanted to make sure that it was the correct one because I have another one here that needs returned. They sent it for the newer model. Here is the part number. Oh, there's a glare. There's the part number for this one. This is really super simple to get off. There is, I believe there are 11 millimeters. Once you pop that off, lift the tailgate back up, and this plastic bezel just pops off. You can kind of see how it's already prying off. So I am gonna have to figure out how to run the wire on this tailgate, because I don't believe on the Ram there was a drain hole at the bottom. I may end up having to actually drill a hole in the bottom of this tailgate so I can run the harness. This is the harness that's probably going to run down through there, and this is the part that connects. So let me take this apart and I'll show you what the harness looks like, and then we'll start working on the tailgate. Okay, so this is the harness all pulled apart. You'll see there's 3 wires for the back. It does come fused. The only problem with these are there's really no instructions, and I feel like that could be a little bit better, because I had to remember how I actually did this. So this part will go to the front of the truck, and this obviously plugs into the back of the head unit. This little tiny green wire here is for that, I believe it's a purple wire on the back of the radio. This is what has to get wire crimped into that. So this is a signal wire. So back here, obviously you have, excuse me, you have a positive and a negative, and here's the trigger wire for the back. So it's actually a 13 millimeter for the tailgate. I still need to get the face or the dash kit, and I still need the radio adapter. However, I still am going to go ahead and get a T-tap so I can tap into the 7-pin underneath the truck. And I'm going to get a fused link I'm just going to tap into the radio harness that way. And I'll probably ground it up underneath the dash somewhere. So that part I'm going to have to work on. I need to still see how, pretty much the hardest part of this is running everything neatly. There's nothing difficult about it. It's just how clean of a job you want it to be. So I'm going to take these 3 bolts off, and then I'm going to show you how to take the front of this off. There you go. So once the 3 bolts are out, you want to take a plastic pry tool and just snap it off, and just be careful not to damage the tailgate or even the paint. And I believe this just lifts up out once you snap. Let me try to get this out. There it is. So this lifts up out just like so, and then you just got to work the tailgate handle out. So that's it. So the factory one's going to snap back in. It does look like there is foam with adhesive on there for the, I guess, the tailgate. I'm not going to pull this off yet because I still have to figure out the wiring and everything. So I'm going to wait on that part. And like I said, I'm probably going to have to drain or drill a hole into the bottom of this tailgate so I'm able to run this harness through. So unfortunately, this isn't like the Ram. The Ram already had a pre-made hole and it just went straight down through. So I need to figure out a few more things as far as routing, and then I'll show you how I made the harness to connect to the front of the truck. Okay, so I'm trying to do this with one hand. I was trying to fish the wire for the backup camera down through there. This is actually a barbecue skewer. I went through a drain. It does actually have drain holes in the bottom. I got to see if they're big enough to pass through for the plug. But I wasn't able to fish it up through until I actually pulled the tailgate off the truck. So as you can tell, there's the skewer. So I need to make sure that the plug will fit in there. I'm going to tape it up at this end and drag it through the bottom and then reattach the tailgate, and then we'll start with the harness itself. This is the easiest way I could find it. I will definitely say Ram made it way easier to put a tailgate handle in that has a backup camera. So I made the hole at the bottom of the tailgate oblong, and I went ahead and taped this. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this through, and hopefully it will go through the bottom. I didn't want to make a hole any bigger than I had to, but I needed to make a big enough hole that we could go ahead and pull this through. So let me try to work this down through here. Okay, so here I am at the bottom of the tailgate. Like I said, I only made a hole as big as I needed. So I'm trying to hold the tailgate up. Let me, I guess, put this on a tripod, and I'll show you how I got this through. Okay, so that is all the way through, and now we're going to go ahead and I'm gonna leave that attached and move this drill. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the adhesive off. I'm gonna try to. Trying to see if I can cut a corner of this. There it is. Okay. And we are going to go ahead and work the tailgate back into the handle, like that. It looks to me like the bottom definitely needs to go in first. Might have to stand the tailgate up. Okay. So this goes like that. I don't think it's all the way in. It's not wanting to clip. All right, so there it is, the double-sided tape. And it's still not clipping in. There it is. So, not a fan of the fitment of this. The Ram is definitely way better than this. I mean, it looks good. It just, I don't know. The fitment of the Ram, I think, is better. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and put the 3 bolts back in. I'm going to put the tailgate back together, and then we're gonna start working on the harness part. I'm gonna test it before, I'm gonna go ahead and run it inside of the vehicle from just alongside the truck, because I wanna make sure that the wiring part is correct. Like I said, I need a T-tap. I'm gonna tap into the 7-pin that is behind the bumper. It's what I did on my Ram, and it still works after 2 years. And I would like a fused link that I can put into the fuse panel for this, and I'm just gonna find the ground that's underneath the dash. So, but I wanna make sure that this at least works before I finish this up. Like I said, I do not have the face or the dash kit, and I don't have the antenna yet. So that is a Monday project, but I'm trying to get everything up to that point because those are like 5-minute things. So let me get this back together, put the tailgate up, and we're gonna go ahead and test it, and I'll show you where I'm tapping into. So the tailgate handle has two separate harnesses. So the one back here that's laying on the ground, that has a trigger wire that has a power and a ground. And then the other half of the harness is over here. That is the RCA and the other trigger wire for the head unit side. I think I'm going to try something a little different on this side. I ran the power wires and everything minus the trigger wire up to the front of the truck. I'm gonna see if I can leave everything back here on this one. And I'm going to run this one. I'm gonna have to crawl underneath of it. I'll show you where I zip tie it up. I'm just pretty much just hide it out of the way, and so nothing's hanging down. And then of course you wanna put it, in a place where it's not gonna end up rubbing or dragging or look bad. So because this truck has a snow plow package on the front of it, I'm going to go into the firewall the same grommet that they use. So once I get the harness up under here, I will go ahead and run it through the truck. I'm gonna test this one more time. I already tested it off camera, it works, but I wanna make sure everything is working on this end. I still need the T-taps for back there, and I think that's actually about it at that point. I need to still run the mic for inside, and then I can actually tape up the radio harness. I don't want to tape it up until I actually get the faceplate, so I need the extra wire so it can kind of sit on the console right now. So let me get this ran. I'll kind of show you bits and pieces. There's no right or wrong way to do this underneath. Pretty much just hide it out of the way, whichever way you think is best. So this is going to be really, really hard to film, but I'm going to show you. This is on the inside of the frame rail. I have fished the wire through there. Those are the fuel lines. I'm going to probably attach this wire so it's not just laying inside of this channel, but you have stuff like this support that I ran it behind. I'm going to attach it in a couple different places. I'm not going to do a whole bunch of video under here because it's really hard to film. And there's not a whole lot of room under here. So I'm almost to the front of the truck, and then I'll show you where in the firewall that we're going to be doing. But I just kind of wanted to show, let me go back a little further. Let me grab a light. So obviously I ran it up underneath. Like I said, you're not really going to be able to see it, but I ran it through the frame rail, and there's a bed support in the back that I ran it up underneath the shock. So like I said, it is, I don't think you can see it in there. You can't. This is really bad film. So there's the cable sticking out. Like I said, I'm just gonna run it up there. It's hard to film. You guys don't really, there's no right or wrong way to do this. Just do it the best way you can. So let me finish this, get it in the cab, and I'll show you how to attach it to the radio. Okay, so, oops, sorry. So the wire has been fished through the firewall, and I'm gonna try to fish it up underneath the dash, up underneath this panel right here. And we're gonna try to fish it up, I guess, behind the climate control. So I will tape this harness up, and anything that I'm not using, I'm gonna go ahead and crimp the end. And then the only one that's actually going to be crimped together is, like I said, is the reverse signal wire. Tomorrow, looks like everything else is coming, but I'm gonna go ahead and test it one more time before I tape everything up, just to make sure it is all working. And other than the dash kit and the antenna, I am gonna run the mic tonight, which I'll show you how to do that as well. Just the back of the truck, which I'm gonna have to tap in for a reverse signal, a power, and I'm going to find a spot on the frame probably for the ground. Okay, so I have the wire plugged into the back of the harness. This is just a quick, just to get power to it. So obviously, and I'll have to reset it up because it pulled that out. The green, or the red is always positive, or always power. Of course, the black is the ground, and this is a trigger wire, which means anytime that it's a source 12 volt, so anytime that there is power going to it, that's when it turns the camera image on. So let me set this back up, make sure it's working, and I'll show you on the inside of the truck. Okay, so that's there. Like I said, I'm waiting on T-taps tomorrow for this. I reset this up real quick. So there's the reverse signal. I still need to finish taping that up and crimp the ends of the wires that we don't need. But there you go. Everything is working. So I'm going to finish this part up, run the mic, and that's pretty much all I can do for today. I'm just about done. So this wire here is, I believe it's for steering wheel controls. Obviously, this doesn't have it. I taped everything else up in there. Not really needed, but I'm doing it anyway. This is the only wire that I crimped because this is for the reverse signal. I don't want to solder in case, I don't know, you ever have to pull this apart. So up next, I need to figure out where I'm going to be routing the USB, and we're also going to work on this. Like I said, I'm going to mount it up here. I'm going to try to run the wire down through under here. I'll probably run it up the same place that I ran the cable for the back of the head unit. And that's pretty much it for today. Tomorrow, hopefully 10 minutes, and this project will be done. All right, so I'll set you up while I'm putting this in. One of the things I wanted to work on in some of the videos is I'm trying to show more of every single step. Not everybody has the same skill level, so I'm trying to make this job as easy as possible. So all I'm doing is hiding the wire now. So I like putting it here. It's a good spot when you're driving. People can hear. I've put it there in every other vehicle that has had this head unit, minus the Volkswagen. It was up in the headliner. But pretty much one of the hardest parts of this job is just trying to hide stuff in a neat way. I've never pulled one of these dashes apart, so it's a little harder to figure this out, but you gotta just run the wire. So I did pop the side cover off over here, but I don't know if it was necessary or not, but I'm gonna continue routing the wire till we get up around the dash. All right, someone's here, so I'm gonna put the video on pause real quick. Okay, last little video clip for the night. I had the reverse camera wire routed up through there. I don't like that because I was just worried the wire was gonna get in the way. So I uncrypted it, and you can actually, let me move past the gear shifter. I have the mic wire running through there. So there's the mic. All the extra wire is down there. I'm gonna zip tie all the excess. I'm gonna leave enough so I can plug it into the back of the head unit, and everything else should be up through there. So here's the mic to go into the back of the head unit, and I'm just gonna work this wire back up through there. So that's pretty much it for at least for tonight. I can't do anything else. I don't have the T-taps for the rear, and I don't have the dash kit. But other than that, I am 5 minutes away from this job being done pretty much. So let me go ahead and finish this video for tonight. I'm going to finish tidying stuff up, and one last video for tomorrow. Okay, it's a small update. I lied. I said I was done for the night, but I forgot that I had to run the auxiliary or the aux USB cord. I'll get it right eventually. So I ran it back there and behind the dash. Like I said, this plugs into the back of the head unit, and I just ran it down here for now. He's fine with that. What I wanted to do was, and I'm going to actually do this for my truck. So obviously we don't smoke. I don't smoke. He doesn't smoke, but these are both cigarette lighters. They make adapters that you can plug the USB harness into. So you'll just have to plug your phone cable into here. I'm going to try to talk him into that. That might be a later video, but for now, he just wants Apple CarPlay and a backup camera. So this is where the cord is going to go for now. there's really nowhere else to put this for now, so that's where it's going to go. I went ahead and taped everything up on the harness. The only thing left to do at this point is I got to put that kick panel back. That's only 2 screws. There's the rest of the mic cable. I just have enough running through here, so there's not a whole bunch back behind the head unit, but this install is pretty much wrapped up. I still want to show you everything once the dash is back together. I'll show you the dash kit. There is different holes on the side of the head unit, so whenever you get the dash kit, you're going to have to play with it a little bit to make sure that it sits flush with the bezel that goes around everything. So for tonight, I am done. I'm going to put that panel back, and that's pretty much it for tonight. So stay tuned for tomorrow. This is all going to be one video. Like I said, this is multiple days. I've only had time here and there to work on it. I'm probably maybe 3.5 hours deep. The hardest part is just making sure the install is clean. There's a few things that I would have liked to change a little bit, but this is what we're going to do. All right, so there's the part number for the dash kit. There's the part number for there. They probably make different dash kits. Of course, you'll want one for a double DIN, not a single DIN, or depends on what radio you put in there. If you're putting a single DIN in, I don't know why you would do that, especially with how cheap touchscreens are. But let me open these up. I'll show you how to install it real quick, and then we'll test it out on the dash to see how we need to mount this bracket on the side of the radio. Okay, so the dash kit doesn't look like there's a top or bottom. This is how I'm going to install it. It does come with these, which are like an adapter, or not an adapter, and a spacer, I'm sorry. But on the right-hand side of the radio, I'm gonna check to make sure. Yeah, on the right side of the radio is where this goes. So you can see there's little tiny holes, and these basically go in here like that, and they should, I think it kind of snaps in. Yeah. You just got to push. These dash kits are always so cheap. Okay. So that side's not in. All right, let me grab the other side as well. See if this one's any easier to get in. Yeah, this side fits a lot better. Okay. And just make sure that it doesn't go the other way. No, so I was right. So this kit actually, the brackets do have an orientation because of how they mount in here. So it's not going to mount any other way. So let me finish snapping these together. I'm going to work on this piece to try to get it in. Like I said, it's a pretty cheap dash kit. And we'll go ahead and put it over the radio, and we'll start to figure out where the alignment of the screws are going to be. Okay, so this is the side of the radio. I'm going to try, this might be a little hard to show. The faceplate does kind of have to be centered a little bit, but I'm going to be using this hole up top, that one, and one in the back. So let me get a screw in there. Sorry for the really bad camera angle. I'm trying not to drop the radio, and then we'll test fit it and see how everything looks. Okay, so the radio's in. It's pretty much same thing like with my Impala. There is a tiny little gap at the bottom. It's just this faceplate. There's not a whole lot of adjustment to it up and down. I am going to put the dash bezel on. We got to make sure everything's okay, but I just wanted to show that Apple CarPlay and everything's still working. So everything's good in that aspect. Of course, maps. And then I changed the illumination to green, so there's fingerprints on there. I still need to wipe that down, but I'm gonna go ahead and test the dash bezel and we'll see how the fitment of this is. Okay, so we are all finished up. Everything works. The backup camera's all done. Like I said, I just tapped into the 7-pin. You can actually look on the cover of the 7-pin and it'll show you the wire diagram. I did things a little differently with the camera on this truck than I did the Ram. I actually ran a power and a ground wire all the way to the front. Not really necessary, so that's why I wanted to try it this time. The reverse signal was still tapped off the 7-pin in the Ram. The only thing I don't like about this, and this is pretty much the same with the Trailblazer and the Impala, it's just this dash kit. There's just a tiny little bit of gap that's below there. You can't really notice it, but it's there. I know it. But I will go ahead and show you everything works. Of course, there's the wrap module. I'm going to turn the key back because it doesn't need to be on. My phone is connected. So there's Apple CarPlay, and there's some of the apps and stuff that I have on the phone. Like I said, I went ahead and changed the color over. This is a wired CarPlay radio, so you do have to have it plugged in. But other than that, everything went really, really well. So if you have any comments or anything, go ahead and message below. And thanks again for watching, and like and subscribe.